this space goes to that room.
Yes, it does. Only thing I've got as a pantry is these two cupboards and a sink.
That's enough.
You just wanted me to have to do it.
You go ahead with me, so just...
Why not? Just so that you can tell me what to do.
Got it?
Yeah. Conflict? What about this little firework?
I think it's quite apt that we enter separately today because we're going to talk about conflicts.
It's like a boxing match. We're on separate sides of the ring.
Conflict when renovating is a real thing.
And the conflict this week is born out of the fact that we are in a state of stasis.
We're waiting on structural engineer's drawings. We've got a builder lined up and we've sort of exhausted ripping out this floor. And we've also got some decisions to make about what's happening internally. And we have this week been riddled with conflict, would you say?
Yes. It's a pointless space. We might as well just not have it.
No, you can put a fridge freezer,
I'll have an
a
armchair.
washer dryer. Why would you just come and sit in there?
I get very fidgety and anxious when nothing's happening, and nothing is happening.
So apart from us disagreeing about it.
Well, yeah. Do you see how small that room, in all seriousness? The positive version of this is that much of the design work that you will see at the end of this project is happening now. So it doesn't always happen on site.
Yeah,
and it doesn't always happen with hammers and with exciting reveals.
Yeah, this is
Actually, the main bulk of the design work that is happening now is happening in this setting where we are very hot.
kind of on the computer or with the paper and pen.
Yeah.
So the main thing we're fighting about, or we have conflict about, is there's two chimney rests in the house. This one behind us, which is coming out because that's where the stairs are going.
Don't need very much intervention there at all. That chimney over there is a whole other story.
Yeah, this is the one that we're disagreeing about. So all along, throughout all of our planning application, that chimney was going. We have to keep it externally because the building is listed, but internally we've got planning permission to remove it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Russell thinks it would be a great idea to keep it.
There are many reasons.
For me, it's a no-brainer. The main place it impacts the house is on the middle floor, where we want to open out into the yard, the actual space that we have.
Yeah.
And basically where the doors are going to be to get outside, like right in the middle of that wall. Whereas Russell's like, that's fine, we'll just shrink the doors and I can close them and put door shrink. I said, we just move them along. Because that's the gap, and it's not to an argument.
It is, I've mentioned it. This is the walling construction. This is all stud work directly behind us, so that will all be going.
Yeah.
Undeniably, we both agree.
Yes.
But once you take all of this back, halfway down that wall, there is a chunk of original wall, which is a chimney breast structure.
See the beam? That's it,
Yeah.
literally that.
Yeah, so it's not all of this would be cut back to there. If we took all of that out and left the chimney breast in,
That's what
it's exactly what it would be like upstairs.
But that bathroom says it's too big for you to just have as a pub trip.
I don't think it is. I think that's a great size.
It's like all of this.
Amazing. That's not big, that's tiny!
I'm suggesting you can have
A sink, washer dryer and a fridge and that's
He's
it.
suggesting I can have. Have you seen the size of his dressing room that he's having? It's actually incredibly useful in an open plan space like the kitchen we're going to have a little place to shut everything away and keep your cake mixed up.
And also no one gives a shit about pantry, apart from you, because no one's going to go in there apart from Russell. So this floor, the reason we set up here is because we've ripped this floor out. So this is the exact same footprint on every floor. Yeah, so when you walk in there, as the front door downstairs, you can see that wall straight.
Does this space feel compromised by that? I don't think so.
Yeah, but there's no kitchen in this place, or a big massive island, or a 6-seater dining.
I think this feels like a gorgeous area open plan space, which is exactly what it will feel like.
And I think that bathroom feels too big.
And the massive double doors there, gorgeous. I'm prepared to find out what the cost is and then not decide, because I don't think there's enough gain if it's going to cost us a significant amount, and I would rather save the money for a gorgeous piece of joinery.
I'll give you useful space to talk and go and sit in the dark, and then we can switch.
Are you going in the basement?
No, do you want me to say it?
Don't want you to be listening in, don't want you to copy me. It was one of those weeks where you just go, what am I doing? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this? And obviously they always come in every process. I'm sure you have been there. But we're trying to work our way through it and use all of our wiles to remember that this is just one of those moments. Because the house is smaller, in a way, the pressure is intensified because all of the decisions hold so much weight. The location and the price of everything at the moment makes it much more stressful. It just means that, you know, we have to plough forward and get through it. But there have been some pretty tasty moments.
We're not putting all that we've already said.
No, but that's not usable space in the pantry. For the
But this is,
pantry,
you can say you'll be stood here.
no, you wouldn't. You are so naughty. And I would quite like to get to the other side of this month. Thank you very much. The other thing that I'm really struggling to negotiate at the moment, and potentially that's because there's a pigeon on the roof. Was that pigeon? It was a very large pigeon. Sounded like a cat, actually. That my feelings about the building have changed quite dramatically. You get to know the orientation of where the sun is, blah, blah, blah. And this is why it's so valuable to move into a property before you set every single design. There's huge value in the period of time that we've been here. It has been stressful living in this space because it is messy. It doesn't fulfill our needs in terms of lifestyle. I'm not locking anything in a way, because I'm just seeing that we have these walls, the external walls, and anything could change, and some would find that very, very frustrating. But I like to think it's a playful, open mindset. One of my wants that I've always wanted since I was little, for some unknown reason, I am this person, is a pantry. I just have always wanted a walk-in pantry. I had a larder in the last house, which was a nice double larder, and I am hugely grateful for that in there. But cooking is something I love, and in a house this small it seems ludicrous, but why shouldn't I want it? An ample, contained shower experience. I've lived with a wet room and I'm over it, and maybe I want a shower door this time. Maybe I want to have a sunken shower tray that has a depth to it with a step into it, down into it. Lovely. I would also love beautiful windows, doors, openings to the property, which I think we have in abundance, so I don't think that's a point of conflict for us. A material connection throughout the entire house. That, I think, is more important to me than specifics of square footage or layout. A wall that you didn't want to be there can be disguised by the interplay of the materials, and I'm really interested in that. Jordy, you'll go. You ready?
Loads of couples renovate, right? It happens all the time. And it can add an extra layer of pressure to a relationship that obviously isn't there, because there's a reason people don't renovate that often. And we do it all the time without regular interior design clients. And in a way, I think it's somewhat easier to have those arguments on their behalf. And I guess we're both really invested in this house in a different way because we're going to be living here. We don't often disagree this massively on something. And also I think we're driven by different things as well. Russell's perhaps more sensible and more financially aware than perhaps I am. And I can be a bit like all or nothing, which obviously inflates the situation somewhat. We also communicate in completely different ways. So Russell's a real verbal communicator, and I am a much more visual communicator. So like that in itself proposes or throws up problems, because he'll want to, at 11 in bed, Russell suddenly want to talk about something in detail, and I'm like, I can't visualize that. I then need to get the computer and stop drawing it. I don't want to do that at 11 o'clock at night because I want to be asleep. I want to be asleep by 8:30. And I think this week, because we've been in a kind of, we had all this action of like ripping things out, and being really active and physically involved. We've filled 2 skips and blah, blah, blah. And then we've sort of had this stasis while we've been waiting on technical drawings. And I think when we got the planning permission, it was like a burst of excitement and energy again. And then it's like, now you need to wait for the next stage. And we know all of this because we do it all the time. But I think, again, when it's your own home, and kind of, I guess in a way, it helps relate to our clients more. Because we know the process so well, that doesn't still mean it isn't frustrating when it happens. We are very clearly designers, interior designers. We're not architects. I think me particularly as well, I like to be someone who thinks they can do everything and do it quickly, and that's not often the best way, perhaps. And so we've been sort of navigating that as well as a couple. And again, we both react really differently to that kind of situation. And this house is modest. I think the utility space / pantry should also remain modest. And I think the most valuable space will be the space that we use to entertain, like the kitchen, the dining room. So for me, the wall just has to go. And also we've spent so much time and money designing it that way. But also that's so classic Russell, because even the night before we moved here, Russell would be searching on Rightmove for other houses, and I'm like, babe, it's happened, we're moving, we bought this house, it's literally happening. And I think that's just the way the brain works, that he likes to exhaust every possible opportunity before he settles on something. Whereas I'm kind of like, that decision is made, that box has been ticked, the drawer has been closed, move on, what's the next decision? I think if I was to distill what I want out of this house, personally, what my priorities are, and God, they're going to sound so selfish, the entertainment space is a priority for me. Yeah, and by that I mean up here in the sitting room and in the kitchen, because just where we are located now, so centrally, loads of friends are nearby, and I want this to be the sort of space that we all come to and we all hang out, and it's like back to ours. We've always kind of been that. And then really selfishly, like my dressing room space. It sounds really shallow, but I have a lot of clothes, shoes, bags. I guess the more functional stuff, like the bathrooms or the utility space, they're less high on my priority list, but they are higher on Russell's. I guess because he cooks, I just don't cook, so it's like, don't just order it. We've got a few tips that we have found helpful when you're trying to resolve creative conflict, and here they are.
Are you a verbal communicator or a visual communicator? Not everybody has the same communication style, and that's absolutely fine. The key is having that conversation, knowing your best communication style, and then trying to negotiate that together so that you can get onto each other's page. Sometimes you're going to have to listen to me, and sometimes I'm going to have to draw for you.
What it means compromise, so even just having an awareness of the way in which you communicate helps, because then you can identify that perhaps what you're arguing about isn't the point of conflict, but it might just be the way you're trying to resolve it. So that it does help.
2, leave it loose or lock it down. Know when the right timing is to keep the play on the elements that you're discussing. Yes, Buckley, I agree. When do you keep it loose, and when is the time to lock it down so that you're not annoying each other and one of you is being rigid when there's still time to make those decisions?
Oh my God, that's you.
Yeah, I like to keep it loose, you like to lock it down. There's a time for both.
3, buy flowers for your husband.
That isn't 3.
Know when to say sorry. That's a good one.
Get inspired together. Sometimes put it down, walk away, have a time out, either on your own or together. Maybe go to a gallery and key back in to the whole point, which is that you wanted to do something good together. Walk away and do something inspiring and come back to it.
It's much easier to resolve it when you're friends again.
You are a team, know who the conflict is for. Sometimes you will receive a surprise, a shock, an email that is a curveball, and you have to recognise that that conflict has been brought to you, and you inevitably will want to discuss that with your partner in crime. but it might not be their conflict. So give that conflict back.
Don't give that to me, it's for someone else.
But I still need to like play it off you and work out which are the good
How do we
bits,
do it?
which are the useful bits to give back.
Well, hopefully that's the week of conflict over, or at least for now. Tune in next week for more interior rip out as we continue the renovation and lots more design inspiration. Big love, R&J.